Coming up on Network Africa. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi kicks off tour to 4 African countries, including Nigeria. UN Security Council welcomes Somalia as its new member, joining Denmark, Greece, Pakistan, and Panama as non-permanent members. Plus, South African Weather Service issues level 4 warning as severe storm wreaks havoc in some parts of the country. Welcome again, everyone. I'm Joke Rogers. Great to have you join us on another edition of Network Africa. We begin with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi kicking off his first foreign trip this year to 4 African countries, maintaining a tradition of 35 consecutive years. Mr. Yi is visiting Namibia, the Republic of Congo, Nigeria, and Chad, which are all friendly cooperation partners of China. According to China's Foreign Affairs Ministry, the week-long visit is intended to promote sustained and in-depth development of China-Africa relations. It also aims to promote implementation of the outcomes of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit and to deepen practical cooperation in various fields. Let's get more on this. Joining us now is foreign policy commentator Collins Weke. He joins us from Brussels in Belgium. Great to have you on the program, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Joke. Thank you for having me.
Right. So what do you make of Mr. Wang Yi's visit to Africa, and how do they align with China's broader foreign policy goals?
Well, like you pointed out, Joke, this is a very consistent practice that China has put in place for 35 years. And I mean, that tells us something about the sustainability of China's foreign policy, how seriously, they take business. Because for 35 years they have been doing this, and once a year they also organize the summit in China, the focal, like you equally referred to. So in between the meeting that invites African countries to China, they also undertake this yearly visit with the aim, of course, of solidifying the relationship, following up on projects, but also preparing, in a very purposeful manner, the next coming, the upcoming, summit. So what we see here is a country that is strategic, that knows what it wants, and is actually going for it. I wish one could say exactly the same about African countries that they are visiting and indeed, making overtures to, because from all indications, it does look like, Africa has become that bride that everyone wants, but it's only Africa itself that doesn't quite understand or know why it has become that bride that everyone wants. And I think Africa has got to put up, that thinking cap to begin to think for themselves and derive from these, partnerships the best that Africa can get along the line of, their national interests.
And do you foresee any specific agreements, partnerships, or, initiatives to be announced during the visit?
Well, I mean, the most obvious is, of course, a deepening relationship around infrastructure development, getting more access to natural resources in Africa. That has always been, China's, main objectives. And of course, we can't discountenance the fact that they are, over the last several years, building up capacities around the use of, soft diplomacy to actually achieve part of their goals. For instance, cultural exchange, educational exchange, and, those sort of, people-to-people relationship, academic exchanges, and so on and so forth. So one can expect that, as a Chinese foreign minister Wang Yi visits, that he is actually coming along with Chinese stakeholders in these different areas where they have interest. Now, I wouldn't know how Africa has prepared for this, but as a matter of fact, one should expect, for instance, that people in the academia should be there, that people, in the manufacturing sector should be there, so that, rather than emphasizing the cutting away of Africa's natural resources, that they can emphasize production activities in Africa, so that raw materials are not taken away to Africa, but that production activities are set up through Chinese investment in Africa, so that finished products are then exported to China. Those are the sort of things that one expects to see as takeaways, MOU signed, in this regard.
And late last year, President Bola Tinubu visited Beijing to discuss cooperation on the economy and several other subjects. Do you think this visit by the Chinese foreign minister is a reciprocal visit? What kind of things do you think will be discussed when he does come to Nigeria?
Well, at best you can call this a trade mission. It couldn't possibly be aligned with the president of visit of President Bola Tinubu. President Bola Tinubu is the president of Nigeria, and so when he visits, one could talk about state visit. I'm not sure the September 2023 visit, 2024 visit was a state visit, but it is the foreign minister that is visiting, and so it cannot be equated. However, it is a trade mission with the goal of coming in with Chinese, business people to meet Nigeria's business people and then carry out exchanges, but also prepare for the next set of, summits that will take place in China, where African, governments are invited. So more or less, this is, some sort of preparatory meeting with the dual goal of strengthening their relationship with Nigeria and other African countries while getting ready for the next set of summits taking place in China.
Right, these summits, there a lot of discussions take place there, and you rightly mentioned a few minutes ago that African countries should begin to see how they can, take more advantage of these trade missions and these cooperations with countries such as China. So in this new year, as 2025 rolls along, do you see more of that happening? Do you actually see, African leaders taking that bold step to say, we're friends with you, we have economic ties, but we want more to be done within our soil rather than just having, your nationals coming in and then taking the foreign exchange out of our countries?
Well, Joke, I can only hope that will be the case. I haven't got that crystal ball into which I would look and see exactly what the African, leaders are doing. At best, we can make inferences with, preparations that have been done or lack of preparations by, African leaders. As a matter of fact, in a normal situation, one would have, been expecting rounds of consultation. These meetings, it's not just, this visit is not just happening. They have known for months that, the visit is going to take place. So you will ask yourself, have there been rounds of consultations, with stakeholders, the business leaders, and so on and so forth, for Nigeria to determine what they are getting out of this? Take, for instance, infrastructure, which is the big thing for China in Africa. One would expect that Africa will now begin to look at, green infrastructure projects. Future projects should align with global sustainability goals, prioritizing renewable energy, public transportation, those sort of things that make life easier and actually, jig up the economy. And they should be looking at eco-friendly urbanization, okay? I mean, we know the urban-rural migration in Nigeria. They should look at all of those. You know, they should also consider quality over, you know, quantity, whereby the focus, you know, should shift to long-term, high-quality infrastructure projects, you know, and more transparency in the financing and execution to prevent, you know, this so-called debt trap, where China is seen actually to be couching these loans such that, you know, Africans are trapped in those debts. Those are the sort of things they should now begin to, you know, renegotiate. And then enhancement in technology. I mean, Africa has, you know, one of the youngest population. They should make use of it, you know, build human capital through Chinese, you know, investment. And when they do that, it's not a favor that China is doing to Africa. It is doing that in its own best interest.
Right. I must thank you for your time today. Foreign policy commentator Collins Weke, thank you for your time on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Jockey.
Let's move on. The M23 rebel fighters backed by Rwanda have taken control of the key town of Masisi in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. This marks this group's second advance in the mineral-rich North Kivu province. According to a provincial parliament member, Alexis Bahunga, the M23 rebels took control of Masisi, a town and local administrative center about 80 kilometers from the major city of Goma, on Saturday, urging the government to strengthen the capacity of the army in the region. The M23 have taken control of large areas of the eastern DRC since 2021. The United Nations says nearly 1 million people fled their homes last year because of the conflict. Angola has been attempting to mediate talks between the DRC's President Felix Tshisekedi and his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame. However, these talks were abruptly cancelled in mid-December over disagreements on the terms of the proposed peace deal. Now to the armed conflict in Sudan. Sudan's Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has praised Turkey's efforts to resolve the 20-month-long conflict between his forces and the rival Rapid Support Forces. Mr. Burhan expressed his gratitude to Turkey's Deputy Foreign Minister Mehmet Kemal during a meeting in Port Sudan over the weekend. Last week, the United Arab Emirates, in a statement, lauded Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan's diplomatic efforts aimed at bringing the ongoing crisis to an end. Tens of thousands of people have been killed and at least 12 million others displaced in the war, which has plunged the country into its worst humanitarian crisis. And the United Nations Security Council has welcomed 5 countries as its new non-permanent members. Somalia emerged as the only African country on the list, joining Denmark, Greece, Pakistan, and Panama as new members of the 2025 to 2026 period. The 5 newly elected countries will join Algeria, Guyana, the Republic of Korea, Sierra Leone, and Slovenia as non-permanent members of the Council.
As a proud member state of African Union, the Arab League, and Organization of Islamic Cooperation, we are profoundly conscious of the sacred trust placed in our nation and the weight of responsibility that accompany this mandate.
And here in Nigeria, residents of Katsina State in the northwest, mostly those living along the border towns, are now living in fear of possible attacks by bandits from Niger Republic. This follows recent allegations by the head of the Niger Republic military junta, General Abdurrahman Tichini, accusing the Nigerian government of plans to destabilize his country.
This is the border between Nigeria and Niger Republic in Katsina State. Both countries have shared common ties for several years until recently, when Niger's democratic government was toppled by a military junta. With their relationship appearing to be frosty, it seems suspicions have also crept in. The head of Nigeria-Republic military junta, General Abdurrahman Chani, in a viral Christmas Day interview, accused the Nigerian government of plans to destabilize his country. He also accused France of aligning with a militant group in the Lake Chad region to undermine Niger's security, allegedly with Nigerian government in the know. The Nigerian military has reacted to the allegations.
No community should allow any unauthorized person to come and stay with them. It is wrong. They are non-Nigerians. They have no room to, they shouldn't stay anywhere in Nigeria. You can imagine that even Nigeria-Republic is accusing them we are using Lakurawas against them. Meanwhile, we're here killing the Lakurawas. So those are the dynamics. So that's why it's dangerous. We should never allow any unauthorized person come into our community. If we see them, we should not hesitate to report so that action will be taken quickly.
But residents in the border communities in Katsina State are afraid the historical ties between Nigeria and Nigeria Republic could be under threat.
If care is not being taken into consideration, there is going to be a serious consequences, both the security and economy of both Niger and Nigeria, not even the northern part of the country.
The residents call for an amicable solution through diplomatic engagements between the Nigerian and Nigerian governments.
When you look at wherever the crisis and conflict are in the world, from the Gaza, Palestine, to Syria, and the Lebanon, and whatever, you find out that the more there is this harmony between the two countries that are closer, the more dangerous the relationship is in terms of security, in terms of economy, in terms of almost everything. So it's good for them to sheath their sword and embrace peace, embrace dialogue, and embrace harmony so that the two countries can progress.
They should consider being together. Diplomacy will solve this problem, not military.
Niger Republic will officially exit the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, on January 29, 2025, if the country maintains its stance to withdraw its membership. This, the residents say, could further widen the gap in relations between Nigeria and Niger, including border restrictions that may affect trade and other socio-economic activities.
Welcome back, everyone. The festive spirit for holidaymakers in Sun City, South Africa was cut short. A severe storm caused significant damage to vehicles. This damage comes as the South African Weather Service issues a yellow level 4 warning for disruptive rains, forecasting flooding and potential property damage. The adverse weather conditions are expected to continue across several provinces, including Northwest Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal, until Wednesday. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samusa, reports.
A trail of destruction has been left behind by heavy disruptive rainfall, causing extensive damage after fallen trees crushed multiple vehicles. Sun City Resort Management confirmed that efforts are underway to clear the affected areas, while investigations into the full extent of the damage continue. They assured that updates will be provided in due course, though no fatalities or injuries have been reported. Meanwhile, the South African Weather Services warns that rainfall distribution is expected to remain scattered and widespread across the central and eastern region of the country, with these conditions likely continuing until Wednesday. They have issued several warnings for heavy rainfall and thunderstorms in central areas, while other parts of the country are experiencing extreme heat. Forecaster Litlokhonolo Thobela explains.
We're expecting isolated to scattered chance of showers and thunder showers from today over the central and the eastern parts of the country, but it becomes widespread over the northern parts of the Northern Cape as well as the eastern half of the Eastern Cape province. With our warnings, we have severe thunderstorms which are expected over the central interior, covering the central and the eastern parts of the Northern Cape into parts of the southern areas of the Free State province as well as the Eastern Cape province, with these heavy with these storms, you can expect heavy downpours that might lead to localized flooding, a possibility of hail, as well as a strong and damaging winds due to these severe thunderstorms by late afternoon. Now, for tomorrow, we're expecting disruptive rain to then be over the northeastern parts, expected to stretch to the eastern half of the Eastern Cape province.
Motorists are urged to remain cautious on the roads as holidaymakers return from various destinations. From Mpumalanga, South Africa, Innocent Samos, Channels Television News.
Well, it's hope coming soon for Mozambique's exiled opposition leader, Venancio Mondlane, who's due to return to the country this Thursday. Mr. Mondlane, who has been heading more than 2 months of deadly protests against disrupted election results from outside the country, said he would return ahead of the inauguration of the new president. President-elect Daniel Chapo of the ruling Frelimo party is due to be sworn in on January 15th after the court confirmed his election victory. But Mr. Mondlane, the runner-up who left Mozambique around October 21, rejected the outcome, saying he feared for his life after violent protests left dozens dead since October. And Kenyan farmers are using artificial intelligence to diagnose diseases in crops. Talk about medical farming. It's an AI app developed by non-profit organization Plant Village, offering real-time solutions to crop health issues and helping farmers struggling with identifying diseased plants.
Roslyn Akochi, a smallholder farmer in western Kenya, scans her cassava crop with a smartphone, using artificial intelligence to instantly diagnose plant diseases and pests. The app, developed by non-profit organization Plant Village, offers real-time solutions to crop health issues, a boon for farmers like Akochi, who have long struggled with identifying diseased plants. She has been using the app since 2018.
This phone app has made my work so easy. I don't have to go far or look for someone for advice or use any transport fare. It's just me in the farm with my phone. Normally, I wake up in the morning before the sun is too hot and survey my farm. This I do twice a week. But the phone app now shows me how my plants are doing and how they are growing.
The technology provides resources on sourcing quality seeds, land preparation methods, and access to agricultural specialists. Akochi reports a significant yield increase since adopting the app. The increased income has allowed her to pay for her children's education and build a house.
You cannot compare the difference. Before, an acre would produce only 5 bags of cassava. Most were wilted or diseased. But using the modern technology that I've been using, 1 acre can now produce 200 or even 250 bags.
Experts say Africa requires an annual investment of $77 billion to enhance farming practices, boost yields, and improve agricultural supply chains to address food insecurity. Smallholder farmers like Akochi, who typically work on less than 2-acre farms, produce 80% of food consumed in Africa. Many lack modern farming expertise and resources. Plant Village has been training farmers and testing their AI applications in Busia, an area identified as food insecure.
And seed suppliers, would you like to get advice on how to manage this pest?
49% of the AIs being deployed in Africa are based on agriculture. And the reason why we are focusing on agriculture is because of the increased population and also the challenges that are being brought by climate change. You'll see that there's a lot of pests and diseases that are emerging and are affecting our crops. And we want to make sure that we provide solution. We want to make sure that farmers have access to this solution so that they can increase the yield of their crops for them to be sustainable and food secure.
AI technologies adoption in Africa is still limited among smallholder farmers who face different barriers such as digital illiteracy, lack of smartphones, poor network connectivity in the rural regions, and lack of awareness.
Many experts believe AI has great potential due to its accessibility, customization, and affordability. However, barriers to technology adoption, such as lack of smartphone access, persist in Africa. Farmers like Akochi are now training others and assisting those without smartphones in their communities.
That's Network Africa today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joker Rogers.